Hey guys, it's Rochelle, aka Floordrobe, and today I'm going to be doing a pattern review. So, we have our pattern right here. It is KWIK SEW Pattern 4138, and we are going to be doing version A of the pattern, which is this super cute little overall skirt for the summertime. And the fabric I'm going to be using, I have a swatch of it right here. It is cotton, and it is just a super summery sunflower print. So yeah, I'm really excited to start this pattern. For this pattern, we'll be using pieces 1 through 9. So let's get started. When you're tracing a pattern onto fabric, it's very important to iron the fabric first. This keeps any wrinkles from distorting the shape of your pattern. I folded my pattern as opposed to cutting it out so I could keep all my size options available. It's also very important to remember that when using cotton, your fabric should always be pre-washed so it doesn't shrink on you. When I traced out this pattern, I just used pins and tailor's chalk. So in this clip, you guys are seeing me cut out pattern piece number 2, and this is the only one I showed you just so you don't get too bored. So I have now cut out all of our pattern pieces, which you can see right here, looking super beautiful. I honestly can't get over how much I love this fabric. I'm really excited to wear this when it's done. For the skirt pieces, I serged all my edges but along the waistband where we're going to be adding our gathering stitches. Hey, so it's a new day and I am about to cut out my pocket bag, and I'm just going to show you because I do this a little bit differently than it does in the pattern, and the reason I do is so I can save some money on fabric, and I thought some people might like to learn this as well. So this is our pocket piece, and I'm just cutting it out in a plain white piece of cotton. So now I am taking my pattern piece and I am putting a piece of tracing paper over top of it, and I am going to make my own little pattern piece here, and this is going to be our pocket facing. So you are just going to take your ruler and trace the edge of the pocket bag. And you are going to go 3 inches from that edge, make a mark, 3 inches from the corner, make sure you're getting a nice right angle, make a mark, alright, and now we have our 10th pattern piece, which we are going to call our pocket bag facing. We can go ahead and cut that out. So the reason that we have created this pattern piece is because fabric is expensive, and cutting this out of your nice fabric can be a lot less expensive than cutting this out of your nice fabric. So we've cut this just out of a simple cotton, and we've cut 4 of these, and we're going to cut this out of our actual fabric, and we're going to cut 4 of these. So now I'm going to start actually putting together the skirt, and we are going to start with our lap zipper. So the first thing I always do is I take my zipper and I double check that it is working perfectly. For this pattern piece, we are using a 7-inch zipper, and I always recommend that you line up your zipper and just remark where the zipper stop point is, because as you can see, I have about a 3 millimeter difference in what the pattern shows and what my zipper actually shows, and you always want it to be accurate. So make sure to do that, and then once you have marked those points on your pieces, you are going to turn them so their right sides are together. You are going to sew down this line at 5/8 of an inch, stop with a basting stitch until you reach the zipper mark, and then back stitch and sew normally down to the bottom. Now we have sewn our seam together. It is basted up until the zipper stop, and then it is sewn normally. We have pressed it the way it was sewn and then pressed it open. We are ready to go on to our next step. So if you look at the left side of this zipper, we are going to take that part of the seam allowance and fold it over so that it is 1/8 of an inch. And we are going to take this to the machine and we are going to press in this fold, and then we are going to baste the fold in place. So I'm just going to take you guys a little bit closer so you can get a bit of a better view. We are going to take this is the left side of the seam allowance, and we are going to fold it just so it is 1/8 of an inch. So as you guys can see, I have basted in my fold right along here, and we are going to take our skirt and push all of our fabric to the right, take our zipper, and get ready to place it. So make sure to look at where your zipper stop line is, and I actually really recommend making sure you leave at least a fingernail's worth of space, maybe around 1/8 of an inch, in between the edge of your fabric and the start of your zipper teeth. So I'm going to pin that in place right now, and then I'm going to sew it for you guys with my zipper foot. So now I have sewn my zipper into place, and I am going to let it flip over to the other side, and I am going to baste this side of the zipper onto my fabric. And I actually recommend you hand baste for this because I just find you get it the best. And make sure when you're basting that you're really pulling this so that it's nice and tight and you don't get any kind of droopy, saggy looking stuff going on in your lap zipper. So yeah, I'm going to hand baste this. Now after we have top stitched across the bottom of the zipper foot and up, we are pretty much done with our slut zipper, and we can just take out all of our basting stitches. So now our lap zipper is done. It is working beautifully, as we can see, and we are ready to move on to the next step. So I have our 4 pocket bags right here, and you are going to take the facing of the pocket bag, and you are going to turn it under 1/4 of an inch on the side that isn't at the seam of the pocket bag and at the bottom. And once you have pressed all of those 2 corners down, you are going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch around the bag. So I will finish one so I can show you guys what that is going to look like. So now you can see our top stitching looking very lovely, and this is just a great way to save your fabric when you're doing your pocket bag, and it's still going to look like when you open your pocket, it's still going to look like the main base of your fabric. It's not going to look like some strange color. So now that I have attached the facing to all of my pocket bags, I'm going to take these to the serger and serge around all the edges of these pocket bags. Alright, now that we have sewn our pocket bags and serged them, we are going to start actually putting together the pocket. So you are going to take the 2 sides of your skirt and put them together right sides facing each other, and you are going to pin the edges, and then you are going to sew all the way down this line, stopping at your points that mark your pockets and basting until the next point that marks your pocket, and then sewing normally down the rest. So I'm going to do that to both of these pockets, just simply pockets. I'm going to do it. It's late at night. So I have sewn together the seams which connect our sides where our pockets are going to be placed, and I am going to actually put in my gathering stitches along the waistband now because I find it much easier in this pattern to add these in now as opposed to after your pockets have been placed. So I'm going to go place these now. Alright, so I have added in my gathering stitches, and I don't know if you guys can tell, this webcam isn't the best at close-up shots, but I have 3 lines of gathering stitches here. Now, the pattern actually recommends that you just do 2, but I'm a big believer in 3, because if you just do 2 gathering pleats, or 2 gathering stitches, and then you gather it and sew, the entire time you're sewing, you're going to be needing to adjust to keep those folds that you created straight. But with the 3rd gathering stitch, if you sew in between the second and third stitch and then take out the third stitch afterwards because it's just basted in. You can just pull it out. All of your pleats stay looking really, really straight and it just looks way more clean and put together. So now we can flip this over and work on putting in our pockets. So we're going to start with this side, and I'm just going to transfer the mark of where the pocket bag starts and stops to the back, or the front, nice, however you want to describe it. And then we are going to take our pocket bag facing up, and we are going to flip it and bring it to the edge of the side. And we are going to sew this at 1/4 of an inch. So when you are sewing the pocket bag, you want to be sure you are just catching your seam allowance, none of the actual skirt. You're just sewing the seam allowance to the pocket bag. Alright, and it's just that easy. And now you can open it up and do the same thing on the opposite side. Alright, and when you are done, you should be able to open it up and see it looking nice and lovely inside. And now all there is for you to do is take your pocket bag, fold it so your two edges are completely lined up, and sew around the perimeter of the bag. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how I sew my pocket bag. Sorry you aren't getting super great view. Still trying to figure out the best way to make these videos. So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know, because I'm like very much a beginner in terms of making YouTube videos, so if there's anything I can do to make them better. But yeah, so when I sew pocket bags, I'm always doing at least 2 lines of stitching, because pockets experience a lot of wear and tear, and we don't want anything falling out of your pockets. So I'm going to be doing my first line of stitching at 1/8 and my second at 1/2 inch. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how I sew my pocket bag. Sorry you aren't getting super great view. Still trying to figure out the best way to make these videos. So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know, because I'm like very much a beginner in terms of making YouTube videos, so if there's anything I can do to make them better. But yeah, so when I sew pocket bags, I'm always doing at least 2 lines of stitching, because pockets experience a lot of wear and tear, and we don't want anything falling out of your pockets. So I'm going to be doing my first line of stitching at 1/8 and my second at 1/2 inch. Oh, did I say 1/8? I meant 1/4. Alright, so now that we have sewn up our pocket bags, we are going to flip our skirt right side out, and we can take out the basting stitches that we put in the pocket bag and see how it looks. Alright, so I've just finished my inseam pockets, and I just want to show you guys how they look, because they're a little different from the ones that are traditionally done on this pattern. And as you can see, you open it up and you see if you're wearing it and it gapes or anything like that, you aren't going to see any weird whiteness. But if you were to turn it inside out, you can see that we saved a little money. And yeah, so it's turned out great so far. And we already have our gathering stitches in, so we can move on to the waistband. So I have here our pieces of interfaced waistband, and we are just going to pin them together, good sides together on both ends, making sure you're putting the left on the left side and the right on the right side, and sew at 5/8 of an inch up. And then we're going to press them open. So I have just sewn both of my waistbands, the interfaced and the non-interfaced version, and I also trimmed down my seam allowances and folded to our center back. Now we are going to do the patch pocket on the front of the jumper. So you are going to take this, and at the fold line marked on the pattern, you are going to press it down, and then you are going to top stitch along the top just to give it a nice face. Beautiful looking top. Alright, so now we got this nice top stitching on the top of our pocket bag, and we can turn it around and press in all of the other corners. So, once you have folded over the other edges of your patch pocket 5/8 of an inch, you can take your piece of uninterfaced, the front of the jumper, your square, and you are going to place the patch pocket on the points you have marked. So I don't know if you can really see mine, but this is where it is going to be placed, and you are going to sew around the edges, excluding the top of the pocket at 1/8. Alright, so I have finished my pocket bag. Sorry, I forgot to film the rest of it after I refilled the bobbin, but one little thing I'd like to point out to you guys that I added to mine that wasn't in the pattern is these little triangles at the top actually add a lot of stabilization to your pocket. So if you're constantly shoving your hand in there, maybe you have something heavy like a cell phone, it's gonna be able to take a lot more stress. So yeah, let's get to the next step. So now we are taking the two squares, putting them good sides together, and sewing the tops and sides of them at 5/8 of an inch. So we have finished top stitching our top of the jumper, and now we are going to put it on our unfaced waistband, matching up our dots with the edges of it, and we are going to sew at 5/8 of an inch. When you finish connecting your jumper to the waistband, it's going to look a little bit like this. Now we're going to move on to the straps. For the straps, the instructions in the pattern said to fully interface them, but I found this made my straps really bulky and quite difficult to turn inside out. So I have only interfaced half of each of my strap, and we are going to see how this turns out. You flip your strap so it is inside out, and you are going to sew along the long end. So I have just finished braiding and trimming my seam off, and now I'm ready to show you guys how to flip this inside out, because there are no instructions on the pattern how to do this. So what I did is I took a safety pin as such and put it through the end that you stitched. Okay, that in. And then we're going to use that safety pin as an anchor as you push it through the tunnel you've made. And this takes a little bit of time, I'm not going to lie. It is a bit of a process, but it can be done. Don't get to the straps and be all terrified. It can be done. Okay. It does take a little bit though. It's not the fastest method. But we're getting there. Almost at the end. Yeah, I really recommend you do this with a safety pin. I don't really know any way to go about doing this without using a safety pin. And I'm just kind of scrunching it together and pushing it back. As you can see, it's all kind of forming a big clump at the end. Once we get it through the tip, it will disappear. Like, yeah, now it's just like a big ball of fabric. Okay, we're getting close. I can feel it. We're at the end. Reach in and grab that pin. And pull. And then take your pin and unclip it and try and kind of get it out. Which is, oh, maybe I messed up. This is more difficult than I thought it would be to get the pin out this way. I can do this. I can figure this out. I might just break the safety pin, honestly, because I'm not quite sure how you get it out. It's like really in there now. Yeah, I think I'm gonna break it. So don't pick your favorite safety pin for this. Oh, come on. I know how to break this. It's breaking my nail. our machine and press it flat. And then after you press it flat, right along where you have sewn, you are just going to top stitch it, 1/8 of an inch. So now that our straps are nice and done, we are going to add them to the body of the jumper. So if you notice your notches are on your far ends of your waistband, and you are going to pin your strap so it lands in between those notches and sew it at 5/8 of an inch. Alright, so now we are going to add the interfaced waistband to our regular waistband. So you are going to put it right sides together and just pin them together along the line, and then we are going to sew at 5/8 of an inch. So now we have our waistband looking absolutely stunning. On both ends it is pressed, and we are ready to attach it to the skirt. So you are going to take your skirt and turn it inside out. And you are going to take your waistband, and using the unfaced edge, you are going to match the seams, and hopefully they will all match up perfectly. So you're going to match side seams, center back, and center front. And when everything looks like it's matching up really perfectly, you're going to pull your gathers so everything is scrunched in to fit in that perfect area, and you're going to sew it 5/8 of an inch in between your second and third gathering stitch. So now this is all gathered together and pinned, and we're going to head to the machine and sew it down. But first we are going to baste our pockets in place. So I've just finished sewing our waistband to the rest of the outfit. It turned out great. I really, really recommend doing that third row of basting. I didn't do it when I did my mock of this pattern, and it made a huge difference. And then afterwards, you can just go out and pull out those basting stitches, and no one will be any of the wiser, and your gathering will look really nice. Okay, so now I think we are going to sew these sides together so that no one can see them. And then we are going to trim and braid this big, messy seam right here. So I have sewn the ends of my waistband, making sure that it covers the zipper teeth. And now we are going to, what are we going to do now? Let me check the instructions. We are going to stitch in the ditch. So pinning all of this down as flat as possible and stitching it. Alright, so we are about to stitch in the ditch. I am not the best at this. My only real advice is to take it super slow. I've pinned it so everything is laying perfectly flat and looking nice. And we are starting on this side. Alright. The only real advice I can give you is just to go slow and really try and get it in that ditch of the seam you've already sewn. Alright, hello guys, I'm back, and I'm going to show you how to apply a buckle to the strap of your overalls. So I have this buckle, which I haven't yet done yet, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So the first thing you do is you take the buckle and you are going to thread your strap through the top section of the buckle and then through the bottommost section of the buckle. Once you have done that, I find it works better if you leave yourself a little space here. You can flip it over, and you are going to thread it through the middle and then out through the top. Once you've done that, you can pull it tight, and if you flip it over, you have your buckle looking super lovely on your overalls. And then what you do with the rest of the strap, once you got it at the length you like it, is you can fold over the top, just press it down about 1/4 of an inch, and then stitch your strap to itself at 1/8 of an inch. Once you've attached your buckle, all you have left to do is attach your skirt hook and bar and your buttons. Alright, so now I have finished my dress actually, and I am going to do something with the scraps of my fabric. So, I thought it would be fun if I made my dog a cute little bandana just to match my outfit. So, you're going to draw a nice big triangle. So I have a very big dog, as you guys can tell. This is a huge bandana, and I am just going to serge the edges. You could add Velcro if you're feeling like being fancy, but I'm just going to be easy.